Margot is a professional bridesmaid, a wedding consultant hired to solve problems, and her newest problem is a code red, Fletcher Harding, the infuriatingly attractive best man. Hired for the extravagant Vanderbilt-Chen nuptials at a triple rate, Margot's sole assignment is to babysit Fletcher, a cynical, anti-capitalist skeptic who openly compares the wedding to a marketing scam and delights in citing divorce statistics. He is, in a word, professionally annoying. Professionally Annoying, a professional bridesmaid and the cynical best man, enemies to lovers rom-com. Chapter 1, The Assignment from Hell. The email arrived at 2 a.m., which should have been my first red flag. Urgent, code red wedding emergency, client, Vanderbilt-Chen nuptials, fee, triple rate, catch, you're babysitting the best man. I stared at my phone screen, watching my bank account balance flash before my eyes like a dying man seeing his life. Rent was due in 5 days. My car had started making a noise that sounded like a dolphin choking on a harmonica. Triple rate meant I could afford both rent and a mechanic who'd actually finished high school. I typed back, I'm in. 3 minutes later, another email. God bless you, Margot. The best man's name is Fletcher Harding. He's... The ellipsis went on for what felt like an eternity. A lot. A lot in professional bridesmaid terminology could mean anything from mildly unpleasant to actively committing crimes. I'd wrangled drunk maids of honor, mothers of the bride with vendettas, and one memorable ring bearer who was actually 3 possums in a tuxedo. How bad could one best man be? He could be very bad. Chapter 2, Meet Cute, Derogatory. The rehearsal dinner was at some place in Tribeca that didn't have prices on the menu, which meant I couldn't afford to look at the breadbasket. I arrived in my professional bridesmaid uniform, approachable but competent, friendly but don't try anything, with shoes that said, I can run in these if your drunk uncle gets handsy. My client, Portia Vanderbilt, yes, those Vanderbilts, grabbed my arm the moment I walked in. Thank God you're here, she hissed, her perfect French manicure digging into my blazer. He's already started. Started what? Just, come on. She dragged me through the private dining room, past tables decorated with centerpieces that cost more than my college education, toward a small crowd gathered near the bar. At the center stood a man in a deliberately rumpled suit jacket, holding a beer and gesturing animatedly. And the diamond industry literally invented the engagement ring tradition in the 1930s through advertising, he was saying, to a horrified elderly woman clutching her pearls that were probably also ethically questionable, but that seemed beside the point. It's the most successful marketing scam in human history, and we all just went along with it like brainwashed. Fletcher! Portia's voice could have shattered the Baccarat crystal. The man turned, and I got my first good look at Fletcher Harding. Objectively speaking, and I prided myself on being very objective, he was annoyingly attractive. Dark hair that looked like he'd forgotten to comb it, but in a way that probably took effort, sharp jawline, eyes that were an unfair shade of blue-gray, and the kind of sardonic half-smile that suggested he found the entire universe faintly amusing and beneath him. Subjectively speaking, I wanted to throw my drink in his face, and I hadn't even ordered one yet. Portia, he said cheerfully, I was just explaining to Mrs. Vanderbilt how her grandson is participating in a centuries-old patriarchal property exchange ritual dressed up as romance. She seemed interested. Mrs. Vanderbilt looked like she was about to call security. Fletcher, this is Margot, Portia said, shoving me forward like a human shield. She's my friend. Margot, this is Marcus's best man, Fletcher. Maybe you two could get some air. Fletcher's eyes slid to me, assessing. I watched recognition dawn, not of me specifically, but of what I was. Professional friend, he asked, one eyebrow rising. Let me guess, bridesmaid for hire, wedding babysitter, ceremonial handholder? Wedding consultant, I said smoothly, using my professional voice number 2, friendly ice queen. And you must be the best man. I've heard so much about you. Nothing good, I hope. Your reputation precedes you like a bad smell. His smile widened. I like you already. You want to get out of here and let these people continue celebrating their voluntary entry into a legally binding contract that statistically has a 40% failure rate? I'd rather eat glass. They probably have some fancy glass here, artisanal, locally sourced. Despite myself, I felt my mouth twitch. I forced it back into a professional smile. Mr. Harding. Fletcher, Mr. Harding is my father, and he's on his third marriage, which really proves my point about Fletcher, I interrupted. I'm going to be very clear. I'm being paid a significant amount of money to make sure this wedding goes smoothly. You are currently the only obstacle to that goal. So here's what's going to happen. You're going to be charming at this dinner, you're going to give a heartfelt toast at the reception, and you're going to keep your opinions about the wedding industrial complex to yourself. In return, I won't tell the bride that you compared her wedding to a capitalist scam within earshot of her grandmother. Fletcher studied me for a long moment. How much are they paying you? That's confidential. More than they paid for those centerpieces? Significantly less, which is a crime against labor. Another almost smile. Okay, Margot, the professional wedding babysitter. I'll make you a deal. I'll behave tonight if you admit that this entire thing is a ridiculous waste of resources that could have been donated to charity. This entire thing is paying my rent. So you admit it's ridiculous? I admit that you're ridiculous. Do we have a deal or not? He extended his hand. Deal. But I reserve the right to be silently judgmental. I shook his hand. His grip was warm and firm, and I hated that I noticed. Your silence would be a gift to us all. Chapter 3. The Longest Weekend. The next morning, my phone rang at 6 a.m. He's gone rogue, Portia sobbed. He's posting on social media. Marcus is freaking out. Please fix this. I pulled up Fletcher's Instagram while still in bed. His latest story was a poll. Wedding tuxedo or monkey suit? Discuss. The previous story was a photo of the rehearsal dinner menu with the caption, $150 for chicken. That's $37.50 per ounce. You could buy actual gold for less. I called the number Portia had sent me. Fletcher answered on the first ring. Margot the Enforcer. To what do I owe the pleasure? Delete the posts. Good morning to you two. Beautiful day, isn't it? It's 6:30 in the morning. Delete the posts. I'm just encouraging critical thinking about consumption culture. You're being an ass. There's a difference. Silence. Then, you know what? You're right. I blinked. I'm sorry, what? You're right. That was immature. I was trying to make a point, but I was mostly just being petty because Marcus asked me to wear a purple bow tie. Do you know what I look like in purple? A bruised eggplant. I found myself smiling into my pillow. So you'll delete them? Already done. See, I can be reasonable, said the man who compared engagement rings to a marketing scam. They are a marketing scam, but I can shut up about it. Sometimes, for short periods. How about for 48 hours? That seems excessive. Fletcher, fine. 48 hours of biting my tongue, but you owe me. I owe you nothing. This is literally your job as best man. My job is to stand there and hold rings. Everything else is optional. Your job is to support your friend on his wedding day. I am supporting him. I'm just also supporting his future self when he realizes he spent $60,000 on one party. 60,000? I stopped myself. Not my circus, not my monkeys. Just show up to the groomsmen fitting at noon and try not to conflict anyone. No promises, but I'll try. For you. Not for me. For Marcus. Sure, he said, and I could hear the smirk in his voice. For Marcus. He hung up, and I stared at my phone, trying to figure out why my heart was beating faster than normal. Probably caffeine withdrawal. Definitely caffeine withdrawal. Chapter 4. The Fitting Room Incident. The tuxedo fitting was at a boutique in Soho that smelled like money and leather. I arrived early, armed with my emergency kit, safety pins, breath mints, a flask of whiskey, for me, and a detailed timeline that I'd laminated because I wasn't taking any chances. The other groomsmen were already there. Marcus, the groom, looking nervous, his brother David, looking hungover, and two college friends whose names I immediately forgot. They were fine, normal, harmless. Then Fletcher walked in 20 minutes late with coffee from a competitor's shop and the energy of someone who just finished reading Chomsky. "Gentlemen," he announced, "I've calculated the total cost of this wedding, divided it by the statistical likelihood of marital success, and determined that Marcus is essentially gambling $75,000 on a coin flip with worse odds." Marcus looked like he might cry. I intercepted Fletcher before he could continue. "Can I talk to you? Outside, now." He followed me into the hallway, looking pleased with himself. "What the hell was that?" I demanded. "Math." "That was you being a dick." "I'm helping. Marcus should know what he's getting into." "Marcus is getting married in 36 hours to a woman he loves. Your job is not to save him from himself. Your job is to shut up and look pretty in a purple bow tie. It's more of an eggplant situation. I don't care if it's tie-dyed with the colors of despair. You're wearing it, you're smiling, and you're giving a toast that doesn't mention divorce statistics, okay?" Fletcher leaned against the wall, studying me. "You really believe in all this stuff, don't you? The white dress, the flowers, the first dance to an Ed Sheeran song? I believe in people having the day they want without some cynical jackass ruining it." That's not an answer. That's the only answer you're getting. We stared at each other. Up close, I could see that his eyes weren't just blue-gray. They had little flecks of gold around the pupils. Stupid, distracting, completely irrelevant eyes. "What happened to you?" I asked before I could stop myself. "Who hurt you so badly that you can't even let other people be happy?" Something flickered across his face. Surprise, maybe, or recognition. That's a very personal question for someone who's being paid to be here. Yeah, well, you're making this very personal by being professionally annoying. Professionally annoying? Is that my official title? It's tattooed on your forehead in invisible ink. He laughed. Actually laughed. Not a sardonic huff, but a real laugh that made his whole face change. Okay, I'll behave. But only because you asked nicely. I didn't ask nicely. You asked with conviction. Same thing. He pushed off the wall and headed back inside. I took a moment to collect myself, wondering when exactly I'd lost control of this situation. The answer? Approximately 5 seconds after meeting Fletcher Harding. Chapter 5. The Rehearsal. By the rehearsal that evening, I'd consumed enough coffee to fuel a small jet and had stress-eaten my way through an entire bag of chocolate-covered espresso beans. Portia had texted me 17 times, each message more panicked than the last. The venue was a converted warehouse in Brooklyn with exposed brick and Edison bulbs, the kind of place that cost a fortune to look deliberately unfinished. I arrived to find the wedding planner, Svetlana, whose accent I was 70% sure was fake, screaming at a florist about peonies. "Where is best man?" Svetlana demanded when she saw me. "I'll find him." I found Fletcher outside, smoking a cigarette and staring at the East River like he was contemplating swimming to New Jersey. "Those'll kill you," I said. "So will wedding cake. At least this is faster." "Since when do you smoke?" "I don't. I'm holding it for the aesthetic. Want it?" He offered me the cigarette. "I want you inside, learning how to walk down an aisle without looking like you're attending your own execution." He took a drag, actually inhaled, the liar, and stubbed it out. "Can I ask you something?" "Is it about wedding statistics?" "It's about you." I hesitated. "Okay. Why do you do this, the professional bridesmaid thing? And don't say money. I mean, yes, obviously money, but there has to be more to it." I considered lying, considered giving him my stock answer about loving weddings and bringing joy to people's special days. But there was something about the way he was looking at me, actually curious, not mocking, that made me tell the truth. "I like solving problems," I said. "Weddings are just big, complicated problems disguised as parties. Something always goes wrong. Flowers don't show up. Bridesmaids get drunk. Someone's racist uncle makes a scene. And I get to fix it. Make it perfect. Make sure that for one day, everything works out the way it's supposed to." "But it's not your day." "That's the point. I don't have to care about the emotional stakes. I just have to make it run smoothly.
I love making these videos for you. If you liked this story, then please like, subscribe to my channel, and switch on the notifications for more entertaining stories. Please also leave a comment for any story suggestions.
Fletcher tilted his head. That's the saddest thing I've ever heard. You literally just said weddings are capitalist scams. They are, but at least the people getting married care about them. You're just, what, a stage manager for someone else's life? Better than being the heckler in the audience. Touché. Svetlana's voice shrieked from inside. Best man, now! Fletcher grimaced. Once more unto the breach. Try to look less like you're being waterboarded. No promises. Chapter 6. The Fight. The rehearsal went surprisingly well. Fletcher managed to walk in a straight line, stand in the correct spot, and only make one sarcastic comment about the Unity candle being a fire hazard, which, fair. Marcus looked relieved. Portia looked less likely to commit murder. I allowed myself to hope that maybe, just maybe, this would all be fine. Joke about his own cynicism. I started to relax. That's when he went off script. But in all seriousness, Fletcher said, his tone shifting, I do wonder if we've lost something in all this pageantry. If maybe we've confused the wedding with the marriage. If we've let an industry convince us that love is measured in centerpieces and dress codes rather than the quiet, daily choice to show up for another person. The room went silent. So here's to Marcus and Portia, he continued, raising his glass. May your marriage be nothing like your wedding. May it be messy and cheap and real. May you spend your money on adventures instead of chair covers. And may you prove me and the divorce statistics wrong. Half the room didn't know whether to clap or cry. Portia's face was unreadable. Marcus looked torn between laughing and crawling under the table. I excused myself and went outside before I did something unprofessional, like scream. Fletcher found me 5 minutes later. That bad? He asked. You're unbelievable. Thank you. That wasn't a compliment. I spun around. Do you have any idea what you just did in there? You basically told everyone that this wedding, this thing that Portia has been planning for 18 months, is meaningless. I said the marriage matters more than the wedding. That's romantic. That's conflicting. You don't get to decide what's meaningful to other people. I was being honest. You were being selfish. This isn't about your opinions on consumer culture or the wedding industry. It's about two people who love each other wanting to celebrate that with their friends and family. And you just shit all over it because you can't keep your cynicism to yourself for 5 minutes. Fletcher's jaw tightened. At least I'm not pretending to care about people I'm being paid to tolerate. The words hit harder than they should have. Wow, I said quietly. You know what? You're right. I am being paid. So let me be very professional right now. You're an arrogant, judgmental ass who hides behind pseudo-intellectual criticism because actually being vulnerable about your own failed relationships is too scary. You think being cynical makes you smart, but really it just makes you lonely. And the saddest part? You're not even original. I've met a dozen guys just like you. Bitter, scared, and convinced that caring about things is somehow beneath them. I turned to leave. Margot, save it. Just show up tomorrow, do your job, and then you never have to see me or these meaningless weddings again. I walked away before he could respond, before I could see if my words had landed, before I could regret saying them. Chapter 7. The Wedding Day. I didn't sleep. I lay in my hotel room, staring at the ceiling, replaying the fight, and wondering if I'd been too harsh. Wondering if he'd been right about me hiding behind professionalism. Wondering why I cared what Fletcher Harding thought about anything. My phone buzzed at 5 a.m. with messages from Portia's bridesmaids, confirming hair and makeup times. Normal wedding day chaos. I threw myself into work, grateful for the distraction. By noon, the bridal suite was controlled chaos. 4 bridesmaids, 2 mothers, 1 bride, and approximately 6,000 bobby pins. I coordinated vendors, fixed a broken zipper, talked a crying bridesmaid off a ledge, she'd seen her ex on Instagram, he looked happy, and somehow kept everything on schedule. Fletcher, according to my spy in the groom suite, David, the hungover brother, was being weirdly quiet. At 3 p.m., an hour before the ceremony, someone knocked on the bridal suite door. I opened it to find Fletcher, already in his tuxedo, purple bow tie and all, holding a coffee from the shop I liked, the one I'd mentioned once, in passing, days ago. "Peace offering," he said. I took the coffee because I wasn't a monster. If this is poisoned, it's not poisoned. It's a latte with 2 shots of espresso and vanilla. Right? Right. We stood in the doorway, the sounds of the bridal party behind me, the empty hallway behind him. "I'm sorry," Fletcher said. "About last night. You were right. I was being selfish and scared and hiding behind criticism because..." He paused, running a hand through his hair. "Because my parents' marriage imploded when I was 12, and my brother's marriage ended after 3 years, and I watched my best friend from high school get divorced and lose half his stuff. And it's easier to mock the whole institution than to admit that I'm terrified of wanting something that might fall apart. I hadn't expected honesty. I definitely hadn't expected that much honesty. And you were also right about me being lonely," he continued. "Turns out being cynical about everything is a great way to keep people at arm's length. Who knew?" "Fletcher, I'm not done. You were right about something else too. This isn't about me. It's Marcus and Portia's day, and they deserve better than my baggage. So I rewrote my toast. It's sappy and sincere and everything I usually hate. Svetlana helped. Her accent is definitely fake, by the way. She's from New Jersey." Despite everything, I smiled. I knew it. So, truce, let me do my job, let you do your job, and then maybe after all this is over, I could take you to dinner. At a place where we don't have to celebrate other people's happiness. Just us. My heart did something complicated in my chest. "You're asking me out? Now? An hour before the ceremony?" I have terrible timing. Add it to my list of flaws. That list is getting pretty long. "So is that a no?" I looked at him, really looked at him, at the genuine nervousness in his eyes, the hope trying to hide behind self-deprecation, the vulnerability that clearly terrified him. "Ask me again after the reception," I said. "If you can make it through this wedding without conflicting anyone or citing divorce statistics, then yes, dinner, just us." His smile could have powered the city. Deal. Chapter 8, The Reception. The ceremony was beautiful. Portia cried, Marcus cried, Portia's grandmother cried, even Svetlana got misty-eyed, though she claimed it was allergies. Fletcher stood at Marcus's side, holding the rings, looking genuinely happy for his friend. When our eyes met across the altar, he winked, and I had to bite my lip to keep from grinning like an idiot. The reception was at a loft in Chelsea with a view of the Hudson and enough fairy lights to be seen from space. Everything went smoothly. First dance, Ed Sheeran as predicted. Father-daughter dance, Etta James, very classy. Cake cutting, no faces were smashed, thankfully. Then came the best man's toast. Fletcher stood, microphone in hand, looking only slightly terrified. "I'm not great at weddings," he started, and the room laughed nervously. "I tend to overthink things, worry about statistics, question traditions. It's a gift and a curse, but mostly a curse. But watching Marcus and Portia together these past few days, actually these past 5 years, I realized something. Love isn't about being statistically likely to succeed. It's about choosing someone every day, even when it's hard. Especially when it's hard." He found Marcus in the crowd. "Marcus, you've been my best friend since we were 18. I've seen you at your worst, and buddy, your worst is pretty bad." More laughter. "And you've seen me at mine. You've never given up on me, even when I probably deserved it. Even when I was, let's be honest, professionally annoying." His eyes flicked to me. I felt my face heat. Portia, I don't know you as well, but I've seen how you look at this idiot. Like he hung the moon. Like his terrible jokes are actually funny. Like loving him is the easiest thing in the world. And maybe that's what love is. Making the choice to build a life with someone feel inevitable. He raised his glass. So here's to Marcus and Portia. May your marriage be full of adventure and laughter and grace. May you be patient with each other's flaws, and Marcus has many. Hey, Marcus called out. And may you prove that love is real and worth celebrating and infinitely more important than centerpieces. Although these centerpieces are lovely, I'm told they cost... I caught his eye and shook my head. A totally reasonable amount, he finished smoothly. To the happy couple. To the happy couple, the room echoed. The toast was perfect, heartfelt without being saccharine, funny without being mean, genuine without preachy. People were crying. Portia blew him a kiss, Marcus mouthed thank you. Fletcher sat down looking relieved and slightly stunned, like he couldn't believe he'd pulled it off. I made my way over to him. So, he asked, did I pass? You passed. Dinner? Dinner. His grin was radiant. Tomorrow? Tomorrow, but right now I have a wedding to finish managing, and you have a dance floor to avoid. I don't avoid dance floors. I just believe dancing is a social construct designed to... I grabbed his hand and pulled him toward the music. You're dancing with me. It's non-negotiable. Is this a professional requirement? Nope. This is entirely personal. We reached the dance floor as a slow song started. Fletcher put one hand on my waist, tentative, and I stepped closer, closing the distance. I'm not very good at this, he admitted. Dancing or being vulnerable. Both, either, all of it. Lucky for you, I'm professionally good at managing chaos. Is that what I am? Chaos? You're something, I said. I haven't quite figured out what yet. We swayed to the music, surrounded by happy couples and fairy lights, and all the trappings of a wedding that Fletcher probably still thought was too expensive. But he wasn't complaining, wasn't calculating costs or citing statistics. He was just here, present, his attention entirely on me. Can I tell you something? He asked. As long as it's not about divorce rates. I think I've been cynical about weddings because I was cynical about love. Because if I convinced myself it was all a scam, I didn't have to risk wanting it, didn't have to risk failing at it. And now? Now I'm dancing with a woman who yells at me when I'm being an ass, who does a job she's overqualified for because she likes solving problems, who drinks her coffee with 2 shots and vanilla, and who makes this ridiculous circus actually feel like it might mean something. My heart was doing that complicated thing again, only more so. Fletcher? Yeah? Shut up and dance. He laughed and pulled me closer, and we danced through 3 more songs before Portia needed me to handle a situation with the caterer. Before I left, Fletcher caught my hand. Tomorrow, he said, 7 o'clock. I'll pick you up. No weddings, no emergencies, no professional obligations.
Just us. Just us, I agreed. Chapter 9, The Morning After. I woke up to 43 text messages. For a moment, I panicked. Had something gone wrong with the wedding? Had Fletcher changed his mind? Then I read them. Portia, you and Fletcher tell me everything. David, hungover groomsman. Dude, Fletcher won't shut up about you. Send help. Marcus, thank you for saving my wedding. Also for whatever you did to Fletcher. He's being weird. Happy weird. Svetlana, fake accent queen. You are good luck. I hired you for next wedding, yes? And one from Fletcher, sent at 2 a.m. Fletcher, can't sleep. Keep thinking about dancing with you. Also, I looked it up, and that coffee shop you like, they have terrible labor practices. Want to find a new favorite together? I was grinning at my phone like a lunatic when it rang. Did I wake you? Fletcher asked. I've been awake for hours. Liar, you sound sleepy. Maybe. What time is it? 10. I know I said 7 for dinner, but I was thinking, what if we don't wait until tonight? What if we get brunch right now and spend the whole day together? I know a place that does ethically sourced coffee and donates profits to charity. Of course you do. Is that a yes? I thought about my to-do list.
thought about the responsible thing to do with my day off, thought about how much I'd enjoyed arguing with Fletcher, dancing with Fletcher, existing in the same space as Fletcher. That's a yes, but I'm paying. No way. You paid emotionally by putting up with me all weekend. Fletcher. Plus, you saved my ass from getting fired as best man, so really, I owe you about 17 meals. This is number 1. We'll negotiate the rest over pancakes. You're ridiculous. You like it? I did. God help me, I really did. Epilogue, 6 months later. Remind me again why we're here, Fletcher asked, adjusting his tie. Because Marcus and Portia invited us to their 6-month anniversary party, and we're good friends who support their marriage. Their statistically successful marriage. Don't start. I'm just saying, 6 months is above the national average for. I kissed him to shut him up. It usually did. Better, I said when we broke apart. You know, I've been thinking. Dangerous. About the wedding industry. I groaned. Fletcher, I swear. No, listen. I was thinking, what if there was a way to make weddings more ethical, more sustainable, less about spending money you don't have on things you don't need? Okay. I want to start a business, a consulting firm that helps couples plan meaningful weddings on reasonable budgets. No overpriced centerpieces, no exploitative labor practices, no guilt about not having a 10-tier cake. Just good parties that don't bankrupt people. He looked at me, nervous, and I was thinking you could help. Be my partner. You want to start a wedding business. You, the man who called weddings a capitalist scam. A reformed man who has seen the error of his ways. You're still cynical. I'm selectively cynical. It's called growth. And you want me to be your business partner? I want you to be my everything partner, but we can start with business. My heart stopped. What? Fletcher took my hand. Margot, these past 6 months have been the best of my life. You make me want to be less of an ass. You make me believe that maybe love isn't a scam, that maybe choosing someone every day is the most radical thing we can do. You make me want to believe in things. Fletcher, I'm not proposing, don't panic. I know we haven't even talked about moving in together yet, and I still haven't met your parents, and we probably need to have about 17 conversations before we get anywhere near that point. But I am saying, I love you. I'm all in. Whatever this is, I want more of it. My heart stopped. What? Fletcher took my hand. Margot, these past 6 months have been the best of my life. You make me want to be less of an ass. You make me believe that maybe love isn't a scam, that maybe choosing someone every day is the most radical thing we can do. You make me want to believe in things. Fletcher, I'm not proposing, don't panic. I know we haven't even talked about moving in together yet, and I still haven't met your parents, and we probably need to have about 17 conversations before we get anywhere near that point. But I am saying, I love you. I'm all in. Whatever this is, I want more of it. I kissed him again, deeper this time, not caring that we were in the parking lot of Marcus and Portia's anniversary party, not caring about anything except this impossible, argumentative, wonderful man who'd somehow become my favorite person. I love you too, I said, even though you're professionally annoying. Especially because I'm professionally annoying. Don't push it. We walked into the party hand in hand. Portia squealed when she saw us. Marcus offered Fletcher a beer. Someone asked if we were the couple who'd met at their wedding, and Fletcher launched into a story about how he'd tried to ruin everything, and I'd saved the day. She's always saving the day, he said, looking at me with something that felt a lot like love. It's what she does. Later, dancing to another Ed Sheeran song, Some Things Never Change, Fletcher whispered in my ear, "So, business partners?" Business partners, I agreed, but I'm in charge of the budget. Deal. I'll be in charge of being professionally annoying. You don't need to be in charge of that. It comes naturally. He spun me out and pulled me back in. Lucky for me, you like naturally annoying. Lucky for you, I agreed. And somewhere between the fairy lights and the overpriced centerpieces, surrounded by love and laughter and the beautiful chaos of people choosing each other, I thought, maybe weddings aren't such a scam after all. Maybe they're just the beginning. The end.
I love making these videos for you. If you liked this story, then please like, subscribe to my channel, and switch on the notifications for more entertaining stories. Please also leave a comment for any story suggestions.